Welcome back to another explainer. So, if you're a parent, you probably know the nightly battle we're talking about all too well, right? It's that exact moment when you're trying to transition your child from a world of high-speed digital stimulation into a calm, restful sleep. You finally get them to put down the phone, snap the laptop shut, or power down the console. You breathe a massive sigh of relief, but then, an hour later, you check in and they're still tossing and turning. Today, we're going to figure out exactly why this happens, drawing directly from Dr. Omer parenting science research.
You see, you've got the device sitting there, powered off, dark, completely quiet. But then you consider your child's brain, and man, it is fully activated. It's buzzing with the tension of a multiplayer game that ended way too abruptly, or the anxiety of unread messages, or that dopamine rush from endless short-form videos. We so often fall into this trap of thinking that a dark screen automatically equals a resting mind. But the reality of a highly aroused bedtime is totally different. The thoughts, the social pressures, the expectation of notifications, those don't just magically vanish the second the screen goes black.
To help you navigate this, we're going to run through a quick roadmap in this explainer. First, looking beyond the off button. Second, the 4 hidden sleep disruptors. Third, a 5-part sleep plan to fix it. And finally, how to adapt all this to your actual messy real life. Let's build a calmer routine together.
All right, part 1. Beyond the off button and the lingering effects of screen time.
Okay, let's dive into this. We really need to establish right up front that digital sleep disruption isn't just a simple binary issue of on versus off. The actual, practical question you should be asking isn't simply, is the device currently on? No, what truly matters is what happened during the hour leading up to sleep. Where is that device sitting right now? And most importantly, has your child's body and mind actually shifted into a sleep-ready state? Because the lingering effects of how that device was used can absolutely continue well into the bedtime transition.
Moving right along to part 2, the 4 hidden sleep disruptors and why the mind actually stays awake.
So, science points to 4 distinct pathways that keep kids awake. It's not just one big boogeyman. We're talking about displaced sleep time, mental or emotional arousal, light exposure, and finally, having device access and the expectation of notifications right there in the bedroom. Interactive media keeps a brain locked into problem-solving or social comparison way after the phone is put down. A highly competitive game leaves a kid feeling frustrated. Social media triggers massive FOMO. Heck, even doing homework on a screen keeps the brain locked in a state of high alertness.
Let's unpack that first disruptor a bit, time displacement. Honestly, this is the most direct mechanism we see. Say a child plans to stop at 9:30, right? But then a video autoplays, or a game hits a really intense stopping point. Suddenly, bam, 10 minutes easily turns into 30. Even if they turn the device off the second they realize it, the entire sleep schedule has already been silently pushed back. That means way less time for showering, reading, picking out clothes, or just mentally settling down for bed.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this totally debunks a super common myth. We hear constantly about the dangers of blue light. And sure, light absolutely matters, but just slapping on night mode or dimming the brightness, that doesn't solve the core issue at all. Night mode does absolutely zero to stop time displacement. It doesn't calm down an emotionally aroused brain, and it certainly doesn't stop the urge to check the phone if it's left vibrating right there on the nightstand. So how do we actually fix this? That brings us to part 3, the 5-part sleep plan for creating a genuinely calm transition.
Here is our straightforward step-by-step roadmap. Step 1, establish a digital landing time. Basically, a hard, consistent point before bed when all stimulating screen use just ends. Step 2, charge those devices outside the bedroom in a predictable, agreed-upon spot. Step 3, close out any unfinished digital activity. Step 4, swap in a low-arousal replacement routine. Think light reading or maybe some gentle stretching. And Step 5, review how things went the next morning. By following these steps, we are systematically replacing chaotic tension with a predictable, safe wind-down sequence.
I really want to highlight Step 3 for a second, closing unfinished business. This means sending that one final, brief message, actually taking a minute to save the game, or flipping on Do Not Disturb right before that landing time hits. Why is this such a big deal? Because it literally cuts down the child's lingering anxiety that something urgent is just sitting there open. If they're stressed about leaving a friend hanging mid-conversation, their heart rate simply won't settle. Letting them neatly wrap up their digital tasks before the landing time signals to their brain that it is actually finally safe to power down.
Of course, this brings us to part 4, adapting to real life and actually making this routine work for your family.
Look, real parenting means you've got to have some flexibility. You cannot just force a flawless routine every single night. And if you try laying down the law during a heated bedtime argument, it's just going to feel like a punishment to your kid. Context is everything here. A calm video call with grandma or reading an ebook, those are super low arousal. They can probably just follow the normal landing time. But a competitive multiplayer game or mindlessly scrolling through endless short-form videos, those are high arousal. They lock the brain in. Not all screen time is equal, meaning your family's plan should specifically target your child's highest-risk digital habits.
To make this whole shebang work, communication is absolutely crucial. Talk about the plan early in the day, not at 10 p.m. when everybody's exhausted and cranky. Keep the language calm and specific. Try saying something like, "Hey, we're protecting your sleep. We aren't trying to isolate you from your friends." Be sure to clearly name the exceptions too, like if there's a late homework deadline or a genuine family emergency. And listen, adults absolutely must model this same behavior. A parent scrolling away in bed while taking their teenager's phone sends an incredibly mixed message. Having predictable flexibility prevents every single night from turning into a tense negotiation.
So how do we turn all this theory into action? Well, enter the 7 days screen and sleep experiment. This is a brilliant little test you can start tonight to see how the routine actually plays out in your own home. Here's the deal. For 1 week, act like a team of scientists. You're just gathering data totally without judgment. We aren't demanding perfect sleep scores here. We are just looking for patterns. Keep track of things like the digital landing time you ended up using, what the very last screen activity was, where the device spent the night, roughly when sleep actually happened, if there was any midnight checking, and hey, just how rested your child felt the next morning. Did gaming cause a delay in stopping? Did social media keep their thoughts racing? After 7 days, just tweak one part of the plan based on the actual evidence you collected.
Actually, a quick but super important reminder here. While screens definitely wreck sleep, they aren't the only culprit. If your child is dealing with frequent waking, really loud snoring, or extreme daytime sleepiness, even with a solid digital routine in place, please loop in a healthcare professional. Underlying medical or psychological conditions like sleep apnea or anxiety, those aren't going to magically disappear just because you took a smartphone out of the bedroom.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative question to chew on. Who actually controls when sleep begins? Your child or their device? Remember, the ultimate goal here is not zero technology. We aren't trying to make tech the bad guy. The goal is just to help your kids find a clear, peaceful transition where their digital life no longer dictates their rest, and they are truly, wonderfully ready for sleep. Thanks so much for joining me, and as always, happy learning!